everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. If you missed that first show, boy, you missed it. I spared Mike Kelly from that one because we talked about life in North Korea. But Marvin Powell stood his ground dealing with that stuff. And then Candy and I. All right, let's get to a rapid fire show. Mike's got to get out of here in 15 minutes. I can't talk faster than 15 seconds a minute or 20 seconds, 30, whatever. Glad to have the group.
Breathe. Good Lord, you're going to have an aneurysm. Breathe.
Everybody, who cares? Maybe you guys do. I got 8 people that might care anyway, and they're on this panel. All right, anyways, we got to have Mike Kelly back. We'll take him 15, 20 minutes on a given night. It don't matter. We have Cliff. We have Candy. We have Marvin Powell. We have Mike Kelly. We have Marky Bilson. We have Tom Shanahan. And we have Tony Bessemer City. Tony, the next time you come on here, you better put Bessemer City next to your name. Because this guy threw a curveball at me that had me going out there and flying all the way to Iceland or Greenland. All right, let's get to it. All right, rapid fire with Mr. Kelly. And I'll tell you one thing, Marvin. Tell Mike Kelly what rapid fire means with me, Marvin.
It means get to it, bud.
That's it. Get to it.
All right.
All right, Kelly, you ready? You get the first grab at them, and then I hit everybody with the rest. All right, give me your thoughts about the passing of Lou Holtz.
Breaks my heart. I went to a clinic in 1980 something, and he gave me a saying that I lived by the rest of my life. Successful people do the things they don't like to do. I went back to my office after that clinic, typed that on a sheet of paper, framed it, and kept it on my desk the whole life. So he had a big influence on me.
Okay, next topic for you. This guy's learning. You guys think he's learning rapid fire pretty good? I'll tell you, I thrive under pressure, man. That's my middle name. Forget about what Brian on the middle name on the birthday. Pressure is it, man. Get it there. Okay, next one that we didn't get around to last week, Mike, we're getting to it this time. The Dodgers tax penalty for signing any more big free agents this offseason will be 110%. Guess what? By adding Kyle Tucker, it's $80 million after taxes. What are your thoughts about the Dodgers? They got money to go out there and print money, just like I hit Paul with the question about Mario Cristobal. Give me your thoughts about the Dodgers and the taxes.
My biggest problem with Major League Baseball is that they don't have a true cap. And you've got teams that like the Yankees, the Dodgers, they have wherewithal that other teams simply don't have, and they buy championships. I have a hard time with that because I'm a baseball purist. I just I find them, but if they got the money, they don't care.
Right. Boy, your rapid fire is so good, I might even hit you with 1 or 2 more times. Thanks, everybody. And be patient because you're going to get hit with them next after this guy gets going. All right. Well, you know what? You were so happy with that last topic I hit you with last week about the skiing and the McDonald's business. Is that what it was? Right?
I don't remember, to be honest with you. I'm trying to put a football league together right now, and my head is swimming with everything that's going on.
Well, don't worry. After this topic, it's going to swim a heck of a lot worse than it did last week because I'm going to tell you something that makes everybody swim. A Rubik's Cube was actually your non-sports one that you're tonight. And Candy, if you want to research it, fine. But I think this guy's going to figure this one out. Okay, and at least you guys, everybody, the rest of you get a preview for what this guy's getting hit with now. All right, ready, Mike? Ready?
Yep.
A Rubik's Cube was solved in just 0.103 seconds by a robot built by Purdue students. Rubik's Cube, people. It'd take me 9 million years to solve that stupid thing. I'm not a robot. I'm just a loudmouth loose kid.
Look,
what do you think, Mike?
The beautiful thing about the Rubik's Cube is it kept a lot of nerds quiet. And so it just let them go ahead and play with that. So if a robot can do it, that's great. But in terms of significance in the world, I don't think it's making even a blimp on the screen.
Really? Seriously? Really?
What?
Okay.
It's a Rubik's Cube, man. I looked at it once and said, yeah, that looks like fun for somebody else, but not me.
See, Mike, what's going to happen after this show is you're going to think this is a fact. It's 15 minutes in sports history watching him ramble off these topics. That's when then politicians can tell lies. Okay, so there you go. So anyways, here, let's hit you one with Bruce Arians. I promised you that one, right? Didn't I? Okay, so Bruce Arians says, and everybody absorb, okay, I tell my coaches if you miss a recital, basketball game, I'll fire you. I missed a lot of my son's games. Those years don't come back. It means more to your children. This shows you how bad my penmanship is, but so what? When I hear
I
about
think
guys
Bruce is
sleeping
a
in
little
their
more eloquent than you. I'm just saying.
what's that?
I think Bruce was a little more eloquent than you.
Oh, there's no question about that. Oh, here's way more question. Oh, I
You're
agree.
struggling here.
Oh, it's okay. I had a lot to deal with here. But okay, let me. Where did I forget? Okay, I'm going to go back there because you threw me out my game. Don't take my time. So okay, yeah, but those years don't come back. It means more to your children. When I hear about guys sleeping in their office, I wonder what the hell are they doing there. The work will always be there. The kids won't. But guess what? Bruce Arians, all he did was win the Super Bowl for 2020 in 2021. What are your thoughts, knowing that Bruce is a lot smoother than I am? At least that's probably you'll take out of
Well,
this.
my mother is 89 years old, and she keeps pulling stuff out that she's kept over my career
Okay.
the whole way through. And she had a note with the logo of the NFL team I was working for, and I said in my note that I'm working 100 to 110 hours a week. Every week there's a stretch of 38 to 43 hours straight that I don't get to sleep because I'm working, and I miss my wife and my kids. I don't know if this is really worth it. And so I worked for guys on the opposite end of what Bruce Arians is talking about. And I can remember we went to training camp. I weighed 192. I coached in the Pro Bowl at the end of the season. I weighed 222. So I put on 30 pounds just eating to stay awake to do my job in the National Football League. When I was a head college coach, if I had a radio show to do or something, I'd come back into my office. If there were coaches in the office and it was after 10 o'clock at night, I told them to go home because there's a point of diminishing returns. And one of the dumbest things that I've ever seen in my life is that when I was working in the NFL, we had a meeting at 7 o'clock in the morning to make corrections on the cards that were made the night before because coaches were so tired they made mistakes. So then we would go over them in the morning and have to white out things and redraw them. And to me, that was just a complete and total waste of time. Go home, get some sleep, come back fresh. But this staying in the office all night long, I did it in my life, and it's the dumbest thing I've ever done. And I'll be very transparent. It started the demise of my marriage because I was never home. And my wife is in bed, and my girls are in first and second grade, and they're setting a clock to come and give me a kiss at night. They come in the room, I'm not there, and they're crying to their mother, how come daddy doesn't like your food anymore? How come he doesn't eat with us? Where's daddy? And all I was doing was trying to earn a living. But I'm a Bruce Arians fan if that's his approach. And if you look at Coach Cignetti at the University of Indiana right now, his approach is similar to Coach Arians. So that working 100 to 110 hours during the week in the season, I think is ridiculous. And it's just I've lived through it, so nobody's going to change my mind on it.
All right, one last football topic I want to get you, and then you can talk about your league. Okay, and that's this. Okay. Mario Cristobal went on record. Went on record saying we don't get into negative recruiting, but people always negative recruit against us, and that's fine because we never take that personally. We just let it play out on recruiting the state of Florida. Some thoughts about his philosophy.
Well, it's easy for people to be negative. That's the easiest thing to do, is to try to downplay somebody rather than play up your own program. And if he can hold his head up high and talk about the positives of coming to the U and what's going to the success rate that those young men are going to have and the type of experience that they're going to have, then that's the high road that he needs to take. And let those other guys talk it out and say what they want to say, because all it is noise. And if you listen to noise all the time, you're not going to be very successful in anything that you do. People want to react to stuff that's on the internet. I love that saying, reacting to things on the internet is like walking down the street and deciding to step in that dog poop that's on the sidewalk there. Walk around it, ignore it, make sure that you're moving forward. And I'd rather go play for a guy that was talking positive about his program rather than trying to knock down somebody else's. So I'll be with Coach Cristobal on that one.
Well, yeah, I'm with him all the way too. You don't want to go out there and negative recruit. Focus on the and I work with Mario Cristobal, so
Well,
I
what
know
kind
how
of
the
kids you end up getting then? Kids that are always looking at the negative side of things. I want kids that are positive on my team.
exactly.
You know, I want to make sure that when that fourth quarter run comes around, that they're positive thinkers, not negative thinkers. And if you're going to be a negative recruiter, you're going to get negative kids.
Great point. Last thing you're going to get out of here with is give us an update on the Continental Football League.
Well, things are going pretty well. We're going to name a fourth team in Texas probably this weekend, or certainly by early next week. So now we're set with 4-4 in the North and the South. I'm excited about the coaches that we're attracting. We've got Jerry Glanville is the defensive coordinator of the San Antonio Toros.
Jerry Glanville? Really?
Yep, Glanville's coaching in San Antonio. Hal Mummy, the godfather of the air raid offense, is going to be the head coach and managing partner of the Indianapolis Capitals. Steve Kaiser, who was the longtime CFL and NFL coach and personnel man. He was the defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears when they won the '85 Super Bowl, and he most recently was the general manager of the Michigan Panthers in the USFL. He's taking over the Michigan Arrows, which again is another revival of the original Continental Football League. So now we're set. Things are rolling along really well. I had a meeting right before this one with all the head coaches, getting things straight so we understand what our roster is. Talk to them about the rule change of the Continental shift, that after the third quarter, we go into the fourth. We're going to play modified Canadian Football League rules so that scouts from both leagues can really get a good assessment of these kids' skill sets. And we got it going. So now it's just a matter of going out there, signing some more players, running these camps, and getting our sponsorship in line in each city. But we're getting a stadium set, and we're getting to that point now where we're going to be ready to roll by the end of May to start playing games.
All right, 2 foods for thought I'm going to get you out of here on. Number one, Mike, and that's this. Next week when you come on Wednesday, we're going into a little bit more information about Kaiser. That'll be one of the topics I'm going to hit you with, okay, when you come on. Okay. Number two, Jerry Glanville is unbelievable. When the Georgia Dome opened up, Marvin, were you there when the Georgia Dome was there? How long you been in that area?
Since 2019.
Oh, so you've been, yeah, okay. Anyways, I covered a game at the Georgia Dome, and Jerry and I have Detroit ties, and Jerry Glanville gave me a one-on-one interview back there. I love Jerry Glanville, and this guy's been on every league on the planet. So, all right, last thing, Mike, let everybody know how to get a hold of you. I know you got to go. Am I at the 15-minute mark? Am I doing good?
You're doing good. We're perfect, man. We're right on point here. Thank you.
Good. Well, let everybody know how to get a hold of you, and then you can get going, and then I can hit the rest of the group with a little bit more. And not talk as fast. All right, go ahead. Floor's yours.
All right. Have some fun tonight, fellas. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Now, how can they get a hold of you?
You can go to coflfootball.com, and that'll take you to the website. That's getting reconstructed right now, I believe. So you can go there and click on the commissioner, and you can send me an email. But we're going to be putting out a lot of stuff here shortly, and just keep track of us, because we think we're addressing a void that is not being addressed by really going after all these kids that get lost in the transfer portal, and give them an opportunity to continue to play.
All right, Mike, I'll get you out of here, but I'm looking forward to hopefully having you on next Wednesday. It'll be 15 minutes, and at least I know how to get to the 15-minute hurdle. Have a good night. Thanks for joining us. Right. God bless. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. You guys have a great night. Take care.
Right. So now there are only 7. How about that? I can talk faster. Now we're down to 7. There'll be a few other ones to go on. All right, Marvin, I'm going to hit you with a couple of these topics. Since you're waiting on here, and I no particular order. I just have to make sure I don't lose my place. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hit Cliff Neal first. Okay, Marvin, hang with me. Okay, buddy. Okay, and that's it. Cliff, we're going to start off at the top. Okay, we're going to start off with the Bruce Arians topic, which I think is a good topic. What are your thoughts about Bruce Arians and his philosophy of doing things?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. He's gotten in. He's definitely he has a good track record of success. So we can't really blame him for the way he does things. He's gotten to the top of the league. He's one of the premier coaches out there. So yeah, I think he's right on track for what he's been doing over the years.
All right, Candy, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there is this saying that you can work yourself to death, and that's not worth it. Missing some of your key moments. They're key moments in life that you have to be part of, and so I get not being at work at midnight and getting up real early the next morning. I also know that sometimes you got to be a workaholic. And not everybody's the same. Some people are very different. Some people can work late hours and are better at night or better with, I think you got to do what's right for you within, obviously, your employer's realm. So I'll leave it at
Tommy.
that.
That's what Don Coryell was known for at San Diego State. And then Joe Gibbs, who played for Coryell at San Diego State as well as coached with him at San Diego State, and then later with the Chargers, was also famous for sleeping in his office. So that's one legend. But the other one that I always remember hearing is Sean Salisbury. He used to always mock and scoff at the idea that coaches had to spend all night. He said they spend a lot of their time in their office reading the paper and eating donuts. So
Sean Salisbury said that?
Yeah. So I don't know where the truth lies.
Well, that one threw me for a curveball. Forget about that, Bessemer City. This guy here threw me a curveball. He's the most straightest arrow on the planet. All right, let me give you some information, Marvin. I have to say, get this off my chest. Did you have a good anniversary yesterday?
Good. Thank you. 19 years.
And what did you? And where did you go, Marvin? Did you go to Buckhead? Where'd you go in Atlanta? I know that area a little bit.
No, we went to Canton.
Where?
To Canton, Georgia. It's probably 45 minutes north of Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah, they have there's a nice restaurant up there that we like. We did that.
So you know what, Marvin? I have to tell you something here in front of a live audience. Okay. I have so much compassion for you and your anniversary. Because number one, I love it when people have anniversary long. Because I'm Brucerians. That topic motivated me. Get this guy a night off. That's okay. Not that I wouldn't have done it, but Brucerians, because you're talking about him right now, pal. What are your thoughts about what he's talking about? And by the way, I'm glad you had a great anniversary, pal. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, I have friends and family who coach in the NFL and in college, and all they talk about is how they don't see their kids. And how crazy the schedule it is with the, in college with the recruiting. And then in the NFL, you have a lot of situations where these guys don't even live in the same city as their family because they move around so much as assistant coaches that they don't want to uproot their kids everywhere. So now they're going, months at a time without seeing their kids. And it's tough, man. I mean, listen, college and especially in Power Forward, college and pro, these guys are getting paid. So this is what the job is. I get that. But there's definitely a sacrifice. Bruce Arians, he definitely understands as somebody whose kids are now older. And, it's tough, man. It's a tough deal. I get it. So.
Sounds good. All right. See, even your man Earl will give you a happy anniversary. Look at all the love you're getting tonight. Oh, scary stuff. Good stuff. You deserve it. All right, Marky. Am I loud enough tonight or should I get louder?
Volume is fine. Well, I am a former Steelers beat writer, but I did not cover the Steelers when Bruce Arians was there. Nevertheless, I am a Bruce Arians fan, remembering his days with the Steelers, but also I would suggest people, one of the things, and I think this is where the beginning of the slow end really started for Mike Tomlin, was when Bruce Arians mysteriously retired as his coordinator there with the Steelers. And then, it's quite a retirement. He wound up becoming a head coach after that and winning the Super Bowl. I've never heard of a retirement that successful and all that. So, I think that when Bruce Arians left the Steelers, that was the beginning of a slow end, as I said again, for Mike Tomlin. And I just look at this. I do agree with his point. And speaking of another Steelers coach that everyone will know, Chuck Noll, back in the day, I can recall this is the era when Joe Gibbs was sleeping in the office with the Washington Redskins. The Redskins it was the 80s. The Redskins were winning. The Steelers were living off past glories. And one of the reporters asked, hey, Chuck Noll, why don't you sleep in the office? And all this. And he said, well, it's not like when I go home, I don't think about the upcoming game. But if there's really something that important to address, I just come in early and look at the films and all this. It's completely possible that what a Chuck Noll can accomplish in, let's say, 8 hours, it might take another coach 10 or 14 hours to do, or perhaps an even more brilliant coach 7 or 6 hours to do. The sleeping in the office we talked about and all of this, it's quality work. It's not necessarily quantity. And I love the Salisbury quote. I believe it very much.
Okay. Tony, what are your thoughts?
I think part of what happens with Bruce Arians is him coming in as an older coach and learning the business and being somebody who was probably closer to players, being a wide receiver coach, assistant coach for all that time, and seeing the burnout from being an assistant coach and all that work, because he didn't become a head coach until he was 60. So that gives him a lot of time and different perspective with age and wisdom of realizing the work-life balance that it takes to be good as a professional coach and athlete and everything that has to deal with that. Also, I don't know when this quote was said or stated, but he did deal with some health scares too. So that might have something to do with it, right? You don't want to work yourself to death literally out here. So I know that might have something to do with it as well. But I think part of that just came with the age and wisdom of him being somebody who was closer to the situation and seeing these people get burnt out at the lower levels of assistant coaches and realizing, hey, guys, go home, spend some time with your family, because time is the one thing we're not going to get back.
Tony, that's a great point. Bruce Arians did have some health scares, and let's face the reality. I mean, that could have happened, but the philosophy is good anyways. But you also have to factor your health in there as well. And I'm thankful that I have Candy to curtail a lot of that. And she tries to keep me under control as well as she can. Not the easiest thing in the world to do. Searching for a miracle. Well, no, maybe some people need to be searching for a Candy. But no, I can appreciate where Bruce Arians does. So, but it's a good point. Tony, you always leave some good points. Let's go back to the Cristobal thing. Okay. And that's this. Obviously, I'm going to go back over it because I know it went out there and I went fast. I'm going to go a little bit slower. Okay. We don't get into negative recruiting, but people always are negative recruit against us. Everybody knows you don't want to do negative recruiting, and he doesn't care about whether they do or not. So, all right, Cliff, what are your thoughts about negative recruiting and the way Mario Cristobal seems to handle that?
I don't know. You're trying to do the best you can when you're doing that job. Trying to bring people in. I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of negative recruiting. But they got to do what they got to do to put the best teams together. So, for me, it should be what what your organization brings, what you bring to the team for me.
All right, you know what? Cliff is new to the show. Cliff, do me a favor. Give me about 30 to 45 seconds. This guy's been a contributor on us, and he talks about hockey expansion. I want Cliff to let everybody know on this panel what you do. I think you work at Towson State or something like that?
Yeah, I'm currently a professor at Towson University, Department of Mass Communication. I spent 16 years behind the scenes in television news, played lots of stories over the years. I can't tell you how many packages I put together. And now I teach the kids who want to get into broadcast journalism in general. I love my job. It's great.
Cliff's going to be here every Wednesday night, people, so get used to him. Cliff and I have been really good friends for a long time. He critiques hockey expansion. I said, you come on this show, you're going to know a whole lot more, but it's the one night you can get to us, so why not? I'm here. I make no bones about it. I am looking for the best cotton picking talent I can get. I got 7 6. I don't know what the heck I call myself. I've only been doing this forever, but 6 pretty darn good people on this show. And we had another one who was a thoroughbred who I gave him the fastest 15 minutes I could come up with. So I'm glad Cliff's going to be a regular on the show. Get used to this guy. All right, Candy, some thoughts about Cristobal. We both know him all too well.
Mario Cristobal talks a lot of times about the culture that he's building at Miami. And how do you build culture if you're talking about negative about somebody? If you're talking about first of all, if you talk about somebody else, whether you're talking negative or positive, you're talking about somebody else. You want to talk about your program and what your program benefits the recruit that you're talking to or the parents of the recruit that you're talking to. You want to talk up your program. You want to talk about why they want to come to your program, why they want to come to Florida, why they want to come to Miami, why do they want to be coached by Jason Taylor, or what does your program have to do? How many of your recruits have gone on in the NFL? You want to talk up your program. I'm all about positivity and not talking about anybody else as your competitor. I do the same in my job because, to be honest with you, you don't know all the ins and outs of another program. You know the ins and outs of your program. You're the expert. Tell everybody why they should come to you and your program. I like that about Mario. I think he really has changed the culture down there, and it's for the better.
Tommy?
Well, negative recruiting, I think, is part of the game because of human nature. You just have a lot of people that are that way, that can only say bad things about other people. But the other side of that coin is that you got to have, so to speak, a war room to be able to respond to negative recruiting. I'm sure a lot of coaches tell Miami, the mom of Miami recruits, that if their kid goes to Miami, they're going to spend up all their time on South Beach. So you got to be, if you're Mario Cristobal, you got to be prepared to counter those kind of comments.
Marvin?
Yeah, I think it speaks to this insecurity. I mean, I've been recruited before. First time was in football, and I think if a coach comes to me and is telling me that this other school is this, and that, my thing is, why aren't you just focused on you and what you have, your blessings, and how great this is going to be for me? I think when you feel the room for the negative energy, I think it's just, it says a lot. You know what I mean? So I appreciate Mario Cristobal's approach to it. I think he's right, dude. If I'm the head coach of Miami, I wouldn't even waste my time talking about any other program unless it was USC, of course. But it's all good. I get it. I'm happy he's that way, and I've always liked Mario. So I think he's a high caliber dude, and I think he's remained that through his coaching career.
No question about him. Great stuff. Okay, Marky.
Oh, very famously, years ago, when Bo Jackson was being recruited by both Alabama and Auburn, he famously said he went to Auburn, who at the time was having a long losing streak to Alabama. And the reason why is the Alabama recruiter said, hey, if you go there, you'll never beat us. Turned out in his freshman year, Bo Jackson, with 2 minutes left, scored the winning touchdown in Bear Bryant's last loss at Alabama. So, and Jackson always said that, that was what pushed me over to Auburn, when they gave me that. So sometimes the negative recruiting in that situation hurts. Of course, you want to promote your own team. And I've always said that I don't care where you coach, you've got to have something that can go to any recruit and say why your program is the greatest there is. I don't care if you're the football coach at Virginia Military. You've got the sleep you get in the barracks will be the best you have in your life. They don't have much to recruit there, but come up with something, and all that. So I get exactly what Cristobal is saying, but I would like to throw this caveat. Of course, one would want to publicize Miami. Why wouldn't you? They were the national runner-up last year. That's tremendous. You have tremendous positive work. But I got to tell you, if I was a recruiter, and I know what I just said about Bo Jackson, if I had heard that a recruit was considering me, or Florida State, I think I might just say something. Hey, why would you want to go there? They're yesterday's program. We're number 2 in the nation, on the cusp of being, and we'll be number 1 with you. And if it's that negative recruiting, possibly. But, I think you can also see where that promotes what you're doing at Miami as well, and saying why you're the best program out there.
All right, Tony.
I'm not mad at that, Marky. I feel that. Hey, if it's us or Florida State, as a Miami fan, I might talk a little junk about Florida State. But it's funny. Mario Cristobal won't say anything negatively recruiting, but if it's at a banquet, he has plenty to say. I don't know if you guys saw what he said to Kirby Smart, saying that this is what Carson Beck looks like with good coaching. So he has plenty of jokes, and he knows how to put his jabs and shots out. But I respect it. Miami has enough good going on where they don't have to talk about nobody else's bad. Like you say, they're the national runner-up. You have Malachi Tony. You have good players. He's recruiting in-house, and you can sell Miami. If you're somebody, if I'm going to talk negatively about certain places, other schools, other than Southern California, I can say anything. Hey, you want to be in Ohio State, cold, freezing, snowing in November? Or are you trying to come down in Miami and play where it's nice and warm and 70 degrees? All right. That'll be my negative recruiting for everybody in the Northeast or anywhere in the Midwest. But other than that, man, you got enough good stuff going on in Miami.
Okay, one new segment I'm going to introduce next week until the draft. I hope everybody's paying attention because you're going to be expected to critique it. I got a lot of interviews over at the Senior Bowl, okay, everybody? And I'm going to go out there and find one that we can all talk about and critique. Because the draft is coming up. Marvin, you and I have already talked about this with Mel and Candy. There will be a Saturday inside the pigskin, okay? And I'm saying it right now in advance so we can promote it early, right? And we're going to talk about the NFL draft, okay? And I got some guys, and I really cleaned up big time over at the Senior Bowl. I don't know how many people on this panel have gone out there and covered the Senior Bowl, but for me, that was like a Thanksgiving feast, except I didn't care about the virus I caught having to watch it 34 degrees in Alabama. That sidelined me for a while. The one thing that can slow me down, it's a virus at 34 degrees in Alabama. So I hope I'll come up with a pretty good quote, and everybody will probably be in there 2 or 3 minutes, and everybody have an opportunity to talk about it. Any questions or comments? You looking forward to it? Hope so. Tommy, if you don't mind coming on next week, then obviously for a few minutes anyways. Sometimes on those I'll limit it like 10, 15 minutes. How's that sound? Just listen to it, and that'll give you some information, and that's all I'll need from here and there. How's that sound, Tommy?
Sounds good.
Okay, good. All right, let's keep this show going here. I want to wish a happy 80th birthday to my best friend in sports media. Ever heard of Bob Ryan? Marvin, have you ever heard of Bob Ryan?
I have, yes.
Good, great stuff. Anybody else heard of Bob Ryan?
Okay. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, Tommy, you should. I mean, the guy goes to NSMA a lot, right? Okay, great stuff. But anyways, happy 80th birthday to Bob Ryan. He's retired from the Boston Globe. He's a mentor of mine, anyways, and much more. You won't meet a classier individual in this business. If you don't know much about him, look him up on Google. Cliff, what are your thoughts about Bob Ryan?
He's been one of the best sports journalists out there for a long, long time, covering Boston and sports in general. I just always like listening, even when he's on TV. His coverage is just top notch. He has such great insights. It's just he knows, he seems to know everything about everything sports, and it's just a pleasure to listen on his analysis.
Candy, some thoughts about Bob?
I've listened to him. I've also listened to you interview him a couple of different times over at NSMA. You did live shows with him, or actually, I take it back. It wasn't a live show. We recorded it and then publicized it. But, he's written about numerous sports. He's covered a lot of Boston's, sports for sure. But a very well accomplished sports writer.
Well, I here's the thing with Bob. I did something when he had a book signing over in, I think it was Winston-Salem, and then I got him for a one-on-one. Get this, people, lasted about 2 hours, and he didn't care. We just had a blast talking. All right, Tommy, you know Bob probably well enough. We obviously both work with him over in North Carolina. Some thoughts about him.
Yeah, Bob is one of the legends. He wrote a book called Scribe that's very good for anyone who's pondering and going in, for any kid pondering going into sports writing about his life and what lessons he learned and how to conduct yourself as a sports writer. He is still very active on Twitter, and I enjoy reading his comments. He goes apoplectic anytime somebody born puts a comment up there about great winners in basketball and they don't mention Bill Russell. He'll go on a tirade about that. Nobody won more than Bill Russell.
Well, he's Mr. Boston Celtic, and he's Boston sports in every sense of the word, for sure. So yeah, I mean,
Russell also won back-to-back NCAA titles. He won an Olympic gold medal, and then he won all those 9 out of 11, is it? Or 11 out of 13? I forget what it is, with the Celtics.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? Bob Ryan to me is a mentor and a friend, and if I ever needed to contact him for advice, he'd be there that fast. Marvin, go ahead. What do you think about Bob?
Yeah, I mean, listen, just as a sports nut my whole life, Bob Ryan is somebody who I've obviously seen countless times covering different sports. He's somebody who I think is always on point, has a great perspective, creates a great narrative for the game. And yeah, I mean, he's just a legend, a living legend.
Marky?
Well, I will just say this about Bob Ryan. It gave me one of the great honors of my career. And just to say this, years ago, and probably the article I'm best known for, my most famous one was when I wrote for SI.com, if you remember that, a piece questioning why Howard Cosell has never won the Pete Rozelle Award, which is given to football broadcasters. This got picked up by a lot of national sources. But at the time, Bob Ryan was filling in as the morning host on WEEI. What do you think the next day he was talking about at the 9 o'clock hour? That's an honor when Bob Ryan is giving you a shout out for your work and talking about the piece that you just did. So Tony Kornheiser called him the quintessential American sports writer. When the quintessential American sports writer is talking about your work, what could be a greater honor?
Yeah, he's unbelievable. All right, Tony.
Yeah, man. When I think of Bob Ryan, I think of being young. I'm talking like real young, at least for me. Looking up at the TV and watching sports reporters on Sundays and realizing like those are the big dogs when it comes to sports reporting, or those are the guys that writers aspire to be, you know, and to see his longevity and him guest starring on PTI, Around the Horn, all that stuff. That's how I know Bob Ryan. And yeah, man, he's a huge part of my sports life as a kid, growing up watching sports and how to be on TV. Prepare me for this.
Well, the one thing I always mention in my book, and for those of you who haven't, Candy will tell you in a few minutes how to get it. Those of you that do have it, the one thing I've tried to teach a lot of the people that I've really mentored and taught wherever they're at is you have to go out there and critique your own shows because you want to know, maybe it says something, but I'm not telling people when they do this to overanalyze themselves. We're not asking you to go crazy. You know, how many times, Marky, have you had to critique your own shows? It isn't about beating yourself up, right? It's just about saying, okay, because that's not what this is about. I'm not here to critique everybody. I critique myself. I'm harder on anybody else than myself. Marky, how do you go approach this?
Good question. Yeah, listening and learning. Trying to say, boy, I hate that, or I wasn't that direct, or went into something. I think just listening and analyzing is one of the ways that I would do self-critique and such. And when writing, one of the things I do with my podcast, which I try to keep to 60 seconds, many times it's just a matter of, okay, you've got to cut this down. You've got to, and that in its own way is a critique. But yeah, sometimes I look back at the stuff that I did at the beginning of my career, and boy, I thought I was, the cat's meow back then. And you said, boy, I've improved since that time, that sort of thing. So, but I think just reviewing what you've done is the best self-critique and trying to analyze it.
And another thing I mentioned in my book too is I don't know how many people watch other shows, whether it's Pardon the Interruption, Get Up, or First Take. I like to watch other people and use it as a shadowing idea in an effort to see what you like, what you don't like, so that way you try to develop your own style as well. Those are just a couple things that I mentioned. And when I start to eventually get back into public speaking and I talk in front of groups, those are the things that we always like to talk about, is shadowing and critiquing. That doesn't mean you have to go crazy and go nuts, but those are things. Katie, why don't you give us a quick station break real quick, and then we're going to a lot of other great topics as well, and show everybody how to get the book. Great stuff, everybody. More to come.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how it has evolved. Old school media meets new school media. Get your copy today. It's available in print form and audio, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content. So go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you want to advertise or be a guest on a show, email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Last but not least, if you see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. What are you waiting for? Just click it, like us, share us with all your friends and family, and then turn on your notifications button so you're notified every time you go live. You do not want to miss some of the programming that we have coming and we have in store for you. So make sure your notifications are turned on. Back to you, Scott.
Great stuff. So I'm talking about my book. I'll tell you a guy that you should definitely go ahead and look at it. And I'll tell you one thing, Earl. Thanks for buying the book, and I'm looking forward to your feedback in the chat. Okay, but here's a guy that, if you can't find a much better broadcaster than this guy, he showed his worth on the Super Bowl. Ever heard of Mike Tirico, people? He called his first Super Bowl, and he's just a 13th TV play-by-play voice in the history of football who's covered the biggest game, and he's a resident of Ann Arbor. What are your thoughts, Cliff, about Mike Tirico?
Oh, Mike Tirico's so many years he's been doing sports. I've always liked what he does, what he has to offer, how he tells a story, how he's able to really run that broadcast. He's kind of like the anchor of that broadcast, and he kind of runs that. And he's been in this game a long time, very, very long time, and you can see it. And he did I think he did a wonderful job this year with this role. And hey, it's you don't get much better than Mike Tirico.
Yeah, think about this. This guy had to double dip, okay? Covers the Super Bowl, had to do the Olympics, and I've never seen a guy who's worthy of the praise get it in social media. Social media was great to this guy, and you know what? They should be. Mike Tirico is as big of a pro as you can get. And I'll tell you, God love Mike. I actually met him, I think, one time at Super Bowl 33, actually, and we were able to talk a little bit. And, of course, it didn't hurt. He's from my neck of the woods out in the Metro Detroit area. Candy, some thoughts about Mike Tirico?
I liked how he closed out the Olympics and how he used saying about the Olympics are people chasing their dreams, and that's what you should do. And he brings more personalized. I think it makes it more personalized for all of us in any of the broadcasts that he does. He brings a little different angle, and I enjoy listening to him on broadcasts.
Nexus Wolf is in the house. Glad you're out here, buddy. What's up? Nice to catch up with you again. Ditto. How's your day? Doing great. Getting a lot of things done around the business. Tommy, some thoughts about Mikey Tirico.
Well, yeah, he's been a pro for a long time. It's always about the game, and it's not about him. He's not looking for sticks or anything like that. He just does his job, and he got a lot of praise for the report he did. Pretty spontaneous after the hockey team's gold medal, but yeah, there's nothing to not like about him.
Marvin.
Yeah, I've always been in awe of his versatility and his ability to really just relate and just speak in a way that everybody kind of gets. And I think it's a direct but soft approach, and I think he just lands well with people. Man, he has good energy, great communication skills. He, people can connect with him. He's that type of dude. So I think he's great. I'm a big Tirico fan.
Beautiful. Okay. What about you, Marky?
I think Mike Tirico is the top sportscaster and going today. So first those we talked to relating to the fans on my old sports talk show in Tennessee, I actually had the opportunity to have him on as a guest. And what I do remember about the conversation really impressed me was he spoke of that he thought that NFL ticket prices were too high for the average fan. I mean, that's somebody who cares about the fan right there. That really impressed me. And you know what? I agree with Mike Tirico as well. So what else can I say? I mean, I think he's the best in the business right now.
Sounds good. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, I never think about ranking guys. When you think about what Mike Tirico doing right now, he's definitely has to be. He goes Super Bowl, Olympics, back for NBA, probably going to do some MLB games when they have the Sunday night baseball games. He's literally covering all the major things when it comes to sports in America and the world when you add the Olympics. And Mike Tirico's been doing that for the longest, right? He was doing Monday Night Football at some point. He was doing the NBA on ESPN. He's just that guy. He does the Notre Dame games. He's just amazing at what he does. He never seems out of sorts. He's a sports lifer, and you can tell.
Okay. All right, Marky, I'll tell you what. We're going to go to our I want to, but you're going to probably leave around 10-ish. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that what you have
Yeah.
to know? So what I want you to do is give me your individual opinion on the Dodgers tax penalty for signing any more big free agents this season, which will obviously be 110%, and adding Kyle Tucker, and everybody else will address it after the 10 o'clock hour. It's about $80 million after taxes. What are your thoughts about that, Marky?
Well, they can afford it, but I mean, it's just another sign that there really isn't any control or competitive balance in baseball now. And you heard earlier, I know there was a conversation about, boy, would I like to see a salary cap? I know that's controversial. I know some people don't agree with it, but when all the other sports have it and you don't, and it seems that baseball has the worst competitive balance of any of the major sports, then I think the proof is in the pudding. The Dodgers can afford to pay the salary. They can afford to pay the price. And while I do believe all the teams are profitable, I mean, they've got the most tubs of moolah of any of the other teams and such. So, I mean, I think when you see the Dodgers signing another free agent and not even caring what it costs and all this, I think that this actually drives a lot of people away in places like Kansas City and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati or wherever, because they no longer think that their teams are playing on an even level. I know it's always been that way to a certain degree. When the Yankees were winning 14 pennants in 16 years, let's face it, under the finances of that era, they had more money than, let's say, the St. Louis Browns or the Philadelphia Athletics, obviously. And that's why they were able to win the World Series for 5 straight years, some 75 years ago or so. But, so it's always been that way, but it just seems more apparent now when you compare it to the other sports.
Great stuff. Okay, let's continue on. Back to the non-sports topic that we had earlier with Mike. Everybody gets a crack at this one. Cliff, Rubik's Cube was solved in just 0.103 seconds by a robot built by Purdue students. What are your thoughts about this one, Cliff?
That's not surprising. I mean, the computer did it that quickly. It's a computer. It's what it's meant for. I was never good at it. I was just never good at it. Yeah, but that's what they're putting it to. I mean, isn't there more important things to worry about as opposed to, figuring out a Rubik's Cube?
I don't think so. But the one thing, Cliff, you're going to get used to as you come on these shows, my man, is leading to one of my things I'm working on throughout the year is we love these non-sports topics. They only get more insane. And if you don't believe me, ask Marvin Powell. he's getting off easy in the second hour. The first hour he had it tough. But no, the Rubik's Cube is what it is. I mean, but yeah, 0.103 seconds. I didn't count that well. All right, Candy.
So the machine utilizes high-speed cameras, custom computer vision algorithms, and precise industrial motor controls. Now, the one thing that I will add, Scott, that the team also had to reinforce the Rubik's Cube itself with a custom internal core to prevent it from disintegrating during the rapid, violent, high-speed moves that the robot used to do the Rubik's Cube. So yes.
What do you think, Tommy? Is this one of the most insane topics I've come up with since you've been on this thing?
Yeah, I don't know how anyone solves a Rubik's Cube. And I don't know how a computer can't solve a Rubik's Cube. So I'll leave it at that.
That's good enough. All right, Marvin.
You know, we're getting to the point now where I'm starting to think that computers and technologies are gonna surpass us because they don't have feelings and emotions. They just do the work. They just do the job. And I wonder how at what point is that not good for us? So right now it's the Rubik's Cube. Tomorrow it's something different. I don't know, but I think it's fascinating that a computer or technology can solve or complete the Rubik's Cube thing as fast, but it's not shocking, man. I mean, they out there. There's a lot of stuff going on in technology, Tony. I'm telling you, man.
Scary though. Yeah, I don't know. Judging by your body language.
No, I'm serious. I mean, it makes you. I mean, it's unbelievable what they're doing. Things that we do. We're talking about the Rubik's Cube, but think about things that we don't know about that are happening with technology. So today, this story sounds cute. There are other stories that are coming that ain't gonna be so cute.
Marvin, I'm gonna tell you something. I've known you long enough, okay? And I'm gonna play it straight with you, like Mike Ditka. You mentioned he plays it straight with you, okay? I've hit you with all kinds of topics. I've never seen you laugh at one like this before. This is the first. So I think we did pretty good to get you to laugh at it. All right, Mark, what are your thoughts about the Rubik's Cube?
Well, before we lament the takeover of computers, which is an old topic, I'm not sure that the quick solving of a Rubik's cube by a computer is any different than the unbeatable chess opponent that one might play on a computer, that sort of thing. But I'm just impressed. I think this is the first time anybody's talked about a Rubik's Cube in 40 years. That fad really went out. I mean, I think because the baseball strike was in 81. Kids needed something to do other than watch their ball clubs back then, and so they played with Rubik's cubes. I was very happy when I could just get one side done. I will tell you that. But by 1983, when that thing was hanging around, I mean that was yesterday's toy, and I don't know that anybody's talked about a Rubik's cube for at least 43 years. So, have they? I mean, it's news to me.
Well, that's why I'm so cotton picking and saying that's why we do this stuff for the Sports Exchange. So here's what we're going to do, Mark. Here's what we're going to do, Marky. Give me your thoughts about Lou Holtz, and then what you're going to do is you're going to let everybody know how they get a hold of you. We'll try to get you out at 9 or 9:01. 10 or 10:01. Can you handle an extra minute?
Yes. Lou Holtz was, and I know you try to be objective to this, but for a long time, Lou Holtz was my favorite college football coach. If you want to go back, the very first team that I ever heard of as a little boy was the South Carolina Gamecocks. I know a lot of people will recognize Holtz from days at Notre Dame, but what he did at South Carolina, which was easily the worst program in the SEC when he got there. And his first year, he went 0-11 there. But they had no talent. But the thing was, for the first time, they were recruiting and keeping quality in-state players at South Carolina home. A lot of people don't know this, but South Carolina is one of the top 10 states, I believe, in producing NFL football players. It's only 24th in population, but they've got good football in South Carolina. So why do the Clemson Tigers win a lot and such? Why are the Furman Paladins usually good in the FCS? That sort of thing. There's a lot of talent there anyway. But it wasn't coming to South Carolina until he got there. And what he was able to do, now he never won the SEC at South Carolina. Heck, he never beat Tennessee or Florida, but he got them to a level of responsibility from 0-11 to 9-4 and beating Ohio State in New Year's Day bowl games. He got the program to a point where they could become nationally prominent under Steve Spurrier. And for the last 10 years since Spurrier, I think South Carolina has been up and down. But, 2 years ago, they just missed the college football playoff. We're talking about a program that was 1-10, 0-11, and a very passionate fan base in South Carolina did not believe the Gamecocks could ever win. And, he changed all that. And that's something that everybody in South Carolina has got to be grateful on. And with that, I will leave you and bid you adieu.
Well, actually, you should let us know how we can get a hold of you. If you want.
Okay. Well, you can go on, let's see, you can find me on Facebook at Marky Billson, MarkyBillson. Check out my podcast on East Tennessee State Sports on TikTok, again, at Marky Billson, or you can find that on YouTube, many other sources and such. Twitter, you'll find me at Marky Billson, usually a lot of Pittsburgh content there. I am a former sports writer. So, many places to find me. And with that, I bid you adieu for real.
Yeah, next Wednesday. See ya. All right. Thanks, Marky. Appreciate you. Okay. Now we have Tommy. All right, Tommy, what we're gonna do with you the rest of the show is this. We're gonna have the Shanahan report, and I'll have maybe one or two topics if you want to comment, and we'll let you go. How's that sound? Okay? Because these are ones I think you'll be very interested in. One, you can talk about Lou Holtz.
You want me to start about Lou Holtz now?
Yeah, well, go ahead. I got a couple ideas here that I think you're gonna like.
One thing I always remember about Lou Holtz, this is going way, way back, 1977 season. Oklahoma was in position to win the national title after Texas and Michigan got upset in their bowl games. The Orange Bowl was the late bowl game on January 1st. Arkansas had some players, 2 or 3 of their best players, get in some trouble. I forget if it was a crime or whatever it was, but Holtz suspended them from the game.
Right.
And everybody thought Oklahoma was just going to roll over Arkansas and claim its national title.
Right.
And Arkansas won 31-6. Nobody could figure out how he did it with all these backup players. And you would never see coaches do that nowadays. They'd make up some kind of excuse to play their star players no matter what they did. So that's something to admire Lou Holtz about. Of course, there's no question he was a great coach everywhere he was, except for the New York Jets. He was great at Minnesota, and then he went to Notre Dame. But I don't know how someone like Lou Holtz could spend his whole career working with black athletes and minorities and seeing how they've been discriminated against and then come out and be a Trump supporter. I just don't get it. He wasn't just a mild Trump supporter. He was a rabid one. So for that reason, I have no respect for the guy at all.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, Tommy. All right, now what I want you to do is this, and this will be a topic that everybody's going to talk about. Okay, but Tommy's obviously, I have a few minutes left with him, and then you're going to go to the Shanahan report after this one. This one has your name written all over it. Indiana moves high school basketball for Hoosier football. High school was rescheduled their sacred Friday night prep basketball games so fans could see the Hoosiers in the Peach Bowl. What are your thoughts? Obviously, you've covered Indiana a lot, and we all know about the years of Hoosiers and how they do things. What are your thoughts about this story, Tommy?
So they moved their Friday night games?
Yeah, but
I didn't catch
I'll go over it
that.
again because this is unbelievable. Yeah, Indiana moves high school basketball for Hoosier football. They rescheduled their sacred Friday night prep basketball game so fans could see the Hoosiers in the Peach Bowl. Apparently, the Peach Bowl obviously was on a Friday night, so they moved it so they can go out there and watch the. You follow me?
Yeah. Well, if Indiana, it wasn't a football state before it is now. I mean, that's a pretty amazing story. That's like Nebraska. That's like Nebraska moving football games for their basketball team.
It's fun. It's true. Okay. All right, Tommy, you got the Shanahan report. Go ahead, my friend.
I've got a couple of stories from events that I posted in the last couple of days on my website. I have an event, the Apex Library, which is Apex is a suburb of Raleigh, invited me for a Black History Month. Jimmy Ray joined me, Charlie Young, one of the pioneers at North Carolina State, and a guy named Gary Dilly is also from Michigan State. We talked about how the Tar Heel State, North Carolina, played a far bigger role in college football integration than people understand. For example, Jim Tatum scheduled 2 games at North Carolina was segregated, and Jim Tatum was their coach in the late 50s, and he scheduled games with a 3-game series with Michigan State, 2 at East Lansing in 62 and 63, and then in 64, Michigan State was the first fully integrated team to play in the South. Now, Jim Tatum caught one of those bizarre, strange insect diseases like Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and so he died in 1959. But the point is, those games are scheduled 5 to 10 years in advance. So in the late 50s, when North Carolina is still segregated, he's scheduling a game with Duffy Doherty to bring his team down there. And that's quite an advanced moment in college football integration that nobody understands. And then the other thing, and I put up another story today, Lansing station, a TV station in Lansing, did a Black History Month thing on the leadership of Michigan State, not just in sports, but also throughout the campus over the years. Clifton Wharton was the first Black president of a major public university in the 70s. And then I was interviewed about the Michigan State's leading the way in college football integration. So both those things are with video are posted on my website. TomShanahan.report.
Hey, Tommy, I appreciate you doing double duty this week a little bit tonight. And we'll see you next Tuesday night on Inside the Picton. All right, my friend?
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. Have a great weekend. All right. Now there are 5, and now the insanity continues. All right. So I'm trying to catch my breath a little bit here, if that's even possible. Tony, I guess, were you the last one to comment on Lou Holtz, or has everybody talked about Lou Holtz, or help me out a little bit? Where are we at?
No, I haven't spoken on Lou
All right,
Holtz.
Candy, where are we at? What topic have we? Was it the Rubik's Cube? You were the last one that didn't get that right.
Yeah, I didn't speak on the Rubik's Cube.
Well, good. You are now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. To me, maybe it's my lack of patience, but a Rubik's Cube is an impossible feat. I just can't see myself sitting there putting one together. So shout out to the computer. But I'm with Marvin, bro. This is just the tip of the spear, tip of the iceberg. This isn't even scratching the surface. And it's the way that they're presenting it to us to make it seem more acceptable. You know, it's almost like with the Ring cameras now, you can post your dog and they'll use the cameras to find your dog. They're using those cameras to watch you. This technology is getting too smart and we're way too slow. So we got to figure out a way to balance this out. But shout out to the robot in the Rubik's Cube.
Hey, Earl, you got to keep me straight in here. I got a lot of people. Now we're down to 5. It gets a little easier, but I was looking to get a lot of people in here. And this is how strong of a show this thing is. And I'll tell you one thing we're able to probably do. I can get 8 people in inside of 90 minutes. I'm doing pretty darn good because I can crank out one-liners. I'll let everybody else take the show. You having a good time so far, Cliff, on this thing? You looking forward to coming back every week?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be great. Every Wednesday night. It's going to be so much fun.
Okay, so all right, Tony, since you ended with the Rubik's Cube, you're going to go ahead to Lou Holtz. Some thoughts.
Lou Holtz, my earliest remembrance of recognition of Lou Holtz is with South Carolina. I didn't realize he was the Notre Dame national championship winning coach until I was older and able to pay attention to that and like look back. I just remember him being a good coach for South Carolina. I don't remember South Carolina being bad because he was solid when he was there. And then him transitioning to being on ESPN and College Game Day, he just became a figurehead on TV. So that's what I remember about him. And then when I got older and I became a Hurricane fan, man, I don't really like Lou Holtz like that. He was part of the Catholics, and I was a Hurricane fan with the Convicts. So that's my recollection of Lou Holtz in the grand scheme of things.
All right, so let me give you a quick story on Lou Holtz. Marvin, your neck, get ready, okay? And that's this. I actually had an opportunity to cover an Orange Bowl, get this, with Lou Holtz and Bobby Bowden over at the actual Orange Bowl, not Hard Rock Stadium, okay? Orange Bowl Stadium. And I'm going to tell you, that was a great week. There was no shortage of one-liners for both of those two guys. Now, I actually made a mistake when I actually thought, how do you like, playing in the Big East Conference? And he corrected me very nicely and candidly said, well, all of our sports in there, football. But that's okay. I mean, you talk about a classic guy, this guy was. And then I hit him with a couple of follow-up questions that were a little bit better than that one. That shows I was a puppy. I was a little bit younger. But covering the Orange Bowl at the Orange Bowl Stadium with Bowden and Holtz, that was an absolute quote machine. Lou Holtz, rest in peace. All right, Marvin, go ahead.
Yeah, Lou Holtz, one of the all-time great coaches. Growing up as a kid, I love the fact that he was playing a black quarterback in Tony Rice. Tony Rice helped him win the national championship. Tony Rice is from South Carolina. Speaking about South Carolina football, but Lou Holtz had dominant Notre Dame teams. He was really the last coach to have a great Notre Dame team. Or he's the last coach to really be in that conversation. And I'm proud to say that his last regular season loss came at the hands of USC when I was there in the Coliseum. Felt good to be the legend. I mean, you respect that, but no, man. Listen, he is a Hall of Famer. Didn't work out for him on my Jets, but he really, his coaching tree, I think, is well established, and the reason that we still talk about him literally 50 years later is because he was just that good. So or 50 years after he left Notre Dame. So yeah, great legend, big football legend. I'm a big fan of him, even though he coached for the Irish.
Yeah, I know. I know you really broke your heart when you had the opportunity to get a plug in for the Trojans beating the Irish and Lou Holtz.
It made sense, God. It just made sense. It slid right in there.
Marvin, that was so painful that you could hardly even feel the cotton picket pain. I know you long enough, pal. What do you think I have? Then again, hold your emotions because you probably got 9 million things to say about me. Good, bad, or different. I don't care, Marvin. I still love you anyways, pal. Okay, go ahead, Candy. Give me your thoughts about Holtz before I say something stupid. I don't have any drinks here to bail me out of the dehydration I'm getting in this thing called a studio.
So anytime someone's career, think about this, his career started in coaching in 1960. It ended in 2004. That tells you, I mean, in a day and age where we talk about coaches on a short leash, that, that one and done or two and done, or we only give you a short leash like that. He coached, he was an assistant coach in 1960 for Iowa, in Williams and Mary, Connecticut, South Carolina, Ohio State. Then he was a head coach, Williams and Mary, North Carolina State. Went to the Jets, Arkansas, Minnesota, Notre Dame for 10 years, and then South Carolina from 99 to 2004. His overall coaching record is 249, 132, and 7. Now that's his college coaching record.
Right.
In the NFL, obviously, he coached for the Jets. He was 3-10. No offense, the Jets aren't real great. Marvin, you've talked about that a lot of times. Obviously that, and we've talked about previously on other shows that sometimes a head coach in college doesn't mean you're going to be a good head coach in the pros. The same with assistants, just like we said. There are some offensive coordinators that are better offensive coordinators than they are head coaches. But back to Lou Holtz, a really awesome, legendary coach. There'll be none other like him. And rest in peace.
All right, Cliff, you have the final word on this one.
Okay, Lou Holtz. When I heard he passed on, I was like, I'm very sad about that. I do remember the '88 championship. I'm from New York. I'm from Long Island, and we're not really into college sports up there because we have 30,000 professional teams.
Right.
But Notre Dame was someone I got into. I lived there in Indiana for a year, and I kind of got in. Then it was something about Lou Holtz and just how he just coached, and when you heard him talk, and yeah, I remember Tony Rice winning that as a quarterback there, and I just Lou Holtz did such a great job and made me care about Notre Dame football, and he was that rock there, that coach, and after he left, and then he went to South Carolina, struggled a little bit, but then really, just gave them such credibility, and just and you could tell he had really cared about his players and their them as players, but also as people too. So it was very heartbreaking. So that's a sad loss we had today.
All right, now we're going to double back to it. I hit Tommy with it. Everybody can talk about it. Since you were the last one that spoke, you're going to be the first one on this one. Indiana, obviously, I told you about moving to high school basketball for Hoosier football. Obviously, the Friday night games were replaced by the Peach Bowl. What are your thoughts about that, Cliff? I mean, let's face the reality. Hoosiers is what made it. But, when you don't have a team that doesn't win often, Indiana is just a great college state. And obviously the Hoosiers are doing some incredible stuff.
Yeah, it's been a real long time since they've been, even halfway decent at football at this level. It was very surprising for me. It's like, really, Indiana's doing it. Wow. They really turned things around, and I get it. I get it. It doesn't happen very often. And it's been a while since they've been, this influential and this successful. So they wanted to take advantage of that, and stranger things have happened. It's a little strange, but I'm not that surprised.
Candy.
I'm not surprised in today's day and age. Look at how many different days the NFL will play on. The NFL has played on Thursday, Friday. They played on Saturdays. They've played Sundays. They've played Mondays. So am I surprised that Indiana moved basketball, their teams around or their games around? No, because it's about money and making the most money you can and getting the most bang for your buck, and not going up against, sometimes not putting two teams up against each other in your market so that you have to make your fans pick and choose. This way they, could choose both. So I get it. It's a business.
Tony.
Yeah, it makes sense. Look, one thing for sure and two things for certain. In football, in America, football is king. So if you got a team, especially you talking about Indiana, who's never played for a national championship, never had a season this good, you can move a high school game or basketball games around easier than moving football games around. I love it. I know some people from Indiana, from that area, tight-knit community. So this is just something that brings the community together. And that's what sports does. It brings everybody together, and being able to watch your team root for a national championship is 3.5 hours of peace in a place like anywhere, that any place in America that can use right now. So I can see why you do that.
All right, Marvin.
Yeah, I think Tony just hit it. I mean, football is king. Candy said it. It's a business. It's a testament to the, how powerful sports are. Again, football, well, sports, family, religion. I mean, depending upon who you are, it's a different 1, 2, 3. So, this is historic. Indiana has the biggest living alumni, which just tells you how many people in that state probably are, this is a big deal to them. I get it. So, yeah.
Okay. Cliff, you said you're from the Long Island area. Is that correct?
Yeah, I grew up there. It was
okay,
over
great.
30 years of my life.
Everybody's going to love this story. I'm telling you. And Marvin, since you're the last one to spoke, you're going to be the first one. I'm going to have a little fun with this rotation. I think last and then first. How's that? Okay. And Candy somehow gets away with it because she's right in the middle anyways. So this is really a really good story. Congratulations to Rod Strickland. He's been named the Coach of the Year in the NEC 3 years ago Long Island University went 1-15 in conference play. This season, they're 15-3, and they won the regular season title. Rod Strickland, everybody. How many people remember? And he's done a really good job in Long Island. Marvin, you can start, please.
Yeah, I got a lot of love for Long Island. I spent 6 years there when my dad was with the Jets. Shout out to East Meadow. Yeah, shout out to East Meadow, New York.
Okay.
So yeah, that just shows you the power one of coaching and what that NIL check can do. All right, because I'm certain that they got. I'm certain they did some kind of fundraising. They got some kind of alumni who put something together. But yeah, real leadership, real coaching, and in that check. And Long Island isn't a bad place to be all of a sudden. You know, I'd love to see how many transfers they had this year.
I don't know. I didn't know what Long Island was getting a lot of NIL love. I don't even know. But hey, listen, I got news for you. I have a lot of respect for Rod Strickland. The fact that he won there, to me, says a whole lot about this guy's coaching ability. And you know what generally happens with guys like him? Win over to a place like that, and you're graduating to a much bigger conference, and you're getting paid a whole lot of money, unless he decides, hey, I like it there. All right, Tony, go on.
Yeah, Rod Strickland as a great player. Great player. It's interesting to see him as a coach. Sometimes the good players are not as good as coaching because they just expect players to get it. But it shows that he has the patience. He can develop talent. But like Marvin said, I'm sure there's some money involved in that too, getting some of the best talent that you can for bang for your buck with the dollars that they got. But I like to see it, man. I like improvement stories. I like that he did choose to go to a small school. I'm assuming he chose to go to a small school. Somebody like Rod Strickland probably can coach different places, but he gets more of a hands-on experience with this. So that's good for the team, obviously, and Rod Strickland.
You know what generally happens at schools like this? They get in the NCAA tournament and they start wrecking your bracket is what they do. They just do. Get them in the NCAA. All right, Candy.
You know, he comes from he's been under some really good coaches. Scott, did you know that Strickland was an assistant coach for the South Florida Bulls under Orlando Antigua from 2014 to 17?
Okay, I didn't know that.
He formerly served in an administrative role for the University of Kentucky basketball team under head coach John Calipari. And he was the director of basketball operations at the University of Memphis under Calipari. He is the godfather of current NBA player Kyrie Irving. And he was inducted into the New York Basketball Hall of Fame with the class of 2008. So obviously he's played for the Knicks, the Spurs, the Blazers, the Washington Bullets / Wizards, the Blazers, the Miami Heat, the Timberwolves, the Magic, Raptors, and Rockets. So obviously he's played under a lot of different coaches. So he's seen a lot of different coaching styles. And then he's coached and had some other lineage with some of the other basketball greats. So obviously he's taken a little bit from everybody and he's making it work for him on the court and having success turning that program around.
Let me tell you, Mike Kelly sent me a text about Candy. You ready for this, people? Okay. He marvels at Candy's free shirt. Not that it's anything new, you, Marvin, right? You've only been on with me longer than anybody. And Tony's getting up there in a little bit of time. Mike Kelly's, get this, he sent me a text about Candy. Man, I love this girl's research, man. She makes it interesting. And now he just sent me a text message to try to get a little short clip so he can promote his show. How about that? Not bad, huh? And all because of you, Candy. All right, Cliff, since you're from that area, you got the final word on your Long Island people up there.
It's our Long Island sports for universities not very well renowned. Stony Brook does this thing, but it's lower level and Hofstra, and so heck, you can turn it around and do something like that at a Long Island school, and I gotta tip my hat to him, especially turn it around so quickly as he did. Yeah, I remember him playing, especially for the Knicks, and I didn't even realize he was on that many teams. I tip my hat to him how he was able to turn that around, especially a school on Long Island. every so often you see them in the tournament. It's been, every so often. So it'll be nice to see. Maybe they can win a game, or heck, maybe two. If they get a bid there. So
if I bothered to get in that March Madness, well, I haven't done it in a few years, and I figured, I can't do this. I don't have to watch that tournament and pay attention to it. I might be forced to take this team just to at least get one win, even though like 9 zillion other people are not going to win it anyways. All right, back to a non-sports topic here tonight. All right, man walked 450 kilometers. I don't even know what that is, to cool off after he had an argument with his wife. After he had an argument with his wife reported him as missing and later collected him. All right, for people, okay. I don't know about you, but if I get in an argument, okay, I don't mind walking a little bit. That was when I could a lot more. Marvin, what are your thoughts about this guy? You think he'll start doing that? Just get away, walk around. I don't even know what 450 kilometers, don't even ask me. But what are your thoughts about the philosophy, at least, Marvin?
I think he's looking for a peaceful solution. I think he's looking for a way just to get away and breathe a little bit. I've been with my wife, 19 years yesterday, but with her to about 26 years total. And sometimes it's like that, man. Sometimes you just need to get out the room and get some space. Now he took it to another level. So I don't know how. I mean, he was really trying to get away from this chick. You know what I mean? So I don't know what was going on with that, but hey, man, it's really. Listen, many married men will tell you the many different crazy things they've had to do just to calm down or get away, or whatever it may be. It is what it is. So he found a way to keep it classy and not end up on unsolved murders, and that's all good to me. I respect it.
Murders, I haven't heard that one. That was pretty good. All right, Paul, I knew you'd come up with another one on a non-sports. Good stuff, brother. Okay, Tony. Unsolved. What was it called again, Marvin? Unsolved Murders.
ID channel, yeah. Unsolved Murders.
Is that a show?
My wife's favorite show. Yes.
Unsolved Murders. Okay. Katie, don't you ever get me to watch that one. I struggle with NCIS, Chicago PD, and don't get me to. I mean, I could never do Criminal Minds. Oh God, that was terrible. But when she got me on Chicago PD, that was better than NCIS. I'm hooked. Okay. And when I write my second version of Lessons from the Microphone, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to give everybody a little preview of book number 2. Okay. Leroy Jethro Gribbs, a.k.a. Mark Harmon. He's going to be in there with me because I'm a part of what this guy is. All Marvin. God help me if he watches NCIS. Just remember, my character is after Mark Harmon. Marvin. And if you watch that show, oh, God, I'm working with this guy. Oh, help me. Let me get the hell out of here with this guy.
Scott, to just give you a point of reference, 450 kilometers is 279.617 miles.
What?
280
279 miles? Really? Seriously? You walk that far? I can't even walk 2 or 3 miles.
Yep.
Wow, that's a lot. I was waiting for Mrs. Research to come up with unsolved murders, right, Arvin? Okay, good to know. 279 miles? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Marvin, good stuff. You gave me some more information that I didn't even know. All right, go ahead, Tony. Take this thing. I don't know what I'm doing.
You know what? I'm a go movie and sports reference. I mean, and TV show reference on this. He turned into Forrest Gump to avoid ending up on Snapped. Okay, and if you want to know about another show, Scott, Snapped is when women go crazy and they kill their man. All right, so
what is it called?
It's called Snapped.
SNAP?
Yep.
God help me.
Past tense. So PED. Add a PED to that. Snapped. And
snapped.
Yeah. Because it's about stories that have already happened. So he turned into Forrest Gump and he just went to running and he did all those miles, probably to avoid being on Snap. Because that's a long way, man. I don't know. At what mile marker did you feel like, you know what? I think I've cooled off enough now. I think 1 or 2 miles might have do it for me, but he needed to do 261. That's a crazy feat. He probably could have. Hopefully he's on Guinness or something. He deserves something for this.
Yeah, well, I'll show you what I know about the metric system. I was really never big on it. You know what? And here's a little story I'm going to run by all y'all. You ready for this? I'm driving in Canada, okay? And obviously, when you're driving in Canada, I'm sure, Cliff, you've probably been there a few times, right? You know, you got this. Oh, okay. Well,
So
I'm going from Detroit to Toronto anyhow because I'm covering the Blue Jays and the Tigers. Okay. Or no, was it the Blue Jays? No, it wasn't the Blue Jays and the Tigers. It was the Blue Jays and somebody. And I'll never forget. I had to switch uh, the speedometer over to kilometers. I thought I was going 120 miles an hour, not 120 minutes. I didn't know it. That was messing me up. So he talk about a little bit of shell shock when it comes to switching it over. All right, Candy, you give me all this metric system. Go ahead. Do you have anything to add to the actual topic about getting away from somebody when people get upset?
Of course, everybody has their what they need to do to take themselves out of a situation when they're upset. Was he smart enough to do that? Yes. Obviously, walking, 280 miles is really Forrest Gump, like Tony said. Smart on his part to walk away, because sometimes that's what you need to do is you need to walk away. You need to clear your mind, get a different perspective. Obviously, 280 miles is a long ways to go. He was actually stopped by police at like 2 a.m. after he had walked. But yeah, I don't know what the argument was about or entailed. But that's quite a distance to clear your mind or get your mind straight.
Everybody thought I was insane walking 10 miles in Deerfield Beach just to try to lose weight. Well, I guess I was probably like 270 behind this guy. All right, go ahead, Cliff.
that's bonkers to me. I've been married 30 years. And yeah, I've never had to go to that extreme to get away that far. My wife and I get along pretty well, so I wouldn't have to be anything that extreme. But yeah, I'm all about getting steps. I walk regularly, 4.5 miles, get to at least to start off the day if I can. But oh my gosh, 279 miles, just keep going and going and going. And just like what you guys were saying, that's immediately my thought of Forrest Gump went immediately to that mindset too. Wow, it's I don't know the dynamics of that relationship or what's going on in there, and maybe it was probably a good idea to go that far. You don't know what's going on there. But hey, he's okay. I guess she's okay. I think it'll, cooler heads definitely got a chance to prevail with that amount of time. So, yeah, God bless him. So hopefully he doesn't have to do that again.
Yeah, the wife reported him missing and later collected him. Now I'm getting it 270, 280 miles. Now I know why she did it. And as Paul Harvey would say, does anybody know who Paul Harvey is in here?
Yes.
I've heard of him.
Well, guess what? We just heard the rest of the story. Good help that I had to do it. It's an old school stuff. All right, well, let's go back to the Dodgers. Initially,
wait, Scott, I have one more last thing I want to put on there. He probably would have kept going, but he was picked up by the police because he broke Italy's COVID curfew at the time. We had to add that in there.
Okay, Candy. All right, let's go back to the Dodgers. We talked about it earlier. The rest of the group will get a chance to do it. I talked about the tax penalty for signing in more big free agents. That would be 110%. Kyle Tucker obviously made $80 million after taxes. Any thoughts about this, Marvin? About the Dodgers spending a lot of money and getting hit with a lot of tax stuff?
Yeah, I think it was Markey who said it. In baseball, it seems like the salary cap is a joke. Like it's not a real thing at all, and it was put there for a specific reason. But if you have more money, then I guess the luxury tax is the loophole there. And to me, it just makes like why even have a cap if the cap's not really a real number that you have to respect. So it's strange. I think it's just the rich get richer, and that's it. It is. I mean, but they know what it is. It's kind of like steroids in baseball. They knew what it was, but it was good for the game. The luxury tax, they know what it is, but it's good for the big markets, for LA, New York, and that's good for the game, right? So Yeah.
Listen, Paul, one of these days you're going to graduate. I'm going to put you on one of these baseball shows. In fact, you know what I'm going to do, Marvin? One of these days I'm going to put you on a Saturday baseball show with some of my young pups. I guarantee you, what we need to do, Marvin, here is what I'm going to tell you right now. Did you consider me your mentor? What do you call me?
What do I call you?
Or consider me?
Yeah, Scott, you're somebody who's given me an opportunity, and I'm thankful for that. So whatever titles fits that's what you are. At times I've thought you were a mentor. At times I've thought you were a coach. We'll leave it at that.
And now he doesn't know what to consider me. I'm saying, I'm not sure what you're looking for. It's okay. It's a fair answer. So you know what I'm looking for you. Okay. Since the football, here's what I'm gonna do, Marvin. We'll talk in private. Maybe one of these days I'm gonna put you on a Saturday baseball show with some of my kids. Dude, I'm gonna tell you something. We got to break you into that sport just a little bit, okay? Just a little. You don't have to come out every week, but we'll figure it out. I got a good B team here, and these kids are bright kids, man. I'm telling you, these guys are good, right, Candy? And Tony ought to know. He's on that damn show, right, Tony? What do you think of our team on Saturday?
It's fun. It's fun. I like it.
All right, there you go. And he knows what to look for. Okay. All right, Tony, what are your thoughts about the Dodgers situation?
I have no problem with it, honestly. Like, all these teams got money. We talking about billionaires, owners trying to convince us that they don't have money to spend. Right. Spend the money, and I think that I would hope that the Dodgers would put more pressure on teams to spend the money, but no. You got teams like Minnesota saying we can't go above what our threshold is, and they've got money saved up for a lockout. So I like it. I like the idea of teams trying to put the best product out possible. I feel like that's the job. That's the one job that every team has, and that's to try and compete to win and do everything in their power to win. I'm a Lakers fan. Marvin, you're a Lakers fan. Look, the Lakers won a lot of championships, and that was their only business. Okay, so like I like a team in a professional sport that they weren't billionaires outside of basketball, but they put everything into basketball to make money and to please their fans. I feel like all the baseball teams that are hating on that situation should look at a Lakers model and actually care more about the fans and actually putting out a winning product because they got the money. They can spend it.
Candy?
I would semi argue with you, Tony. Yes, a lot of owners have a lot of money, but not everybody has to spend a lot to have a good product on the field. The Brewers don't spend as much money, and yes, they haven't won the World Series, but how often have they been in the playoffs the last how many years? So yes, maybe to win the World Series, sometimes you have to buy your way there. But I think some of it also is motivation. Some of it's luck. Some of it's, and the reason why I say luck is how many players get injured and how many of your players at the end of the year are hot and the team is playing hot. So am I upset that the Dodgers spend that kind of boku money? Well, what did it do for the Mets last year? They spent boku money, and look, they didn't make the playoffs. So it doesn't guarantee. Yes, you're more likely to make the playoffs, but it doesn't guarantee it. I think we're looking at next year. We're going to have a lockout. Because they're going to, strike, and they're not going to come to an agreement whether we need to have a salary cap, what that salary cap is. Do we need a floor? All of those are going to be battled out in negotiations during a lockout next year, I believe.
All right, Cliff.
Candy stole a little bit of my thunder there, mentioning the Mets, because I am a Mets fan, and I'm like, it doesn't matter how much money you spend. They don't know how to spend it correctly. Okay, that there's a difference in spending, and then I'm sick of watching the Dodgers just throw money here, left, and right. But I can't. Who am I to talk? I'm from New York. I'm a Mets fan. It's so I I maybe some sort of cap, but and I feel bad for the teams, the small market teams, because they never seem to like really get over the hump. And
Right.
it's gotten silly with the Dodgers now. Their entire team seems to be an all-star team. And heck, they just took Edwin Diaz away. All right. So I'm sick of watching that, but it was the Yankees before that. And but they haven't won 09, right? 09 was the last time they won, right? Yeah. I was like, they've been spending money left and right, so it's what you do. And there's so many other things that go along with it. And you're right. The lockout's going to hit. They're going to do something. They might, I don't know if they'll ever go with a hard cap, but we'll see.
All right. Well, you know what? I like bad ass Buckeye Bonds at one time was the least liked baseball player in the world. Pass. All right. Well, that's a great segue to where we're going with this. Because now Netflix is pursuing Barry Bonds for its exclusive coverage on opening day between the Giants and the Yankees. Per The Athletic, Netflix is also trying to sign CC Sabathia for the broadcast. All right, Cliff, what are your thoughts about Netflix trying to bring on Bonds and then Sabathia?
Bonds, people are going to want to hear him talk. I mean, he's not in the Hall of Fame, but we know what he did. Everybody knows what he did. It's television, it's right. Engaging. People are going to want to hear it. If it's going to bring in extra ratings, sure. And lots of people love Sabathia. So I guess they kind of go with I'm not saying one's a good guy or a bad guy, but the whole villain hero character, because Sabathia was kind of loved, and that might be what they're kind of doing. And I mean, if it can get him to talk, if you can get Bonds to talk, I mean, that's what he's getting hired for, because, when he was playing, he was kind of difficult, right? So if you give him enough money, it's about the ratings. We'll see what he's going to do. So I'm not really surprised. Netflix will do anything they can to get eyes.
Well, one of the things that cost him the Hall of Fame, number one, was his treatment to the media was awful. He'll probably even tell you to this day that he should have treated the media better. Here's the thing I can tell you right now, okay, and that's this. I covered the Marlins and the Giants in that big game where they ran into Pudge Rodriguez, made that incredible play at the plate. And again, I didn't want to talk to Barry Bonds. You know what I ended up doing? I went into Marlins clubhouse and got dosed with champagne, and I was having a ball in there, getting every interview I could get my hands on. And if you've ever been soaked by champagne inside of a locker room like that, it's just an unbelievable, exhilarating feeling on the planet. It was unbelievable. And to see Barry Bonds, I don't like the guy. I never wanted to talk to him, and I still never want to talk to him, and I still think he's a fraud. But if they feel, but this guy here, you're putting him on TV, giving him an audition, pretty much is what they're doing to see if he's any good. We'll find out, but I'm not holding my breath. And besides, if Don Mattingly didn't like Bonds, it's another reason why I don't like him. All right, Candy.
Let's face it, this is a business. And what are they trying to do? They're trying to get ratings. We have Jeter, A-Rod, Big Papi on the other networks. So they got to get some other big names in there. NFL does it. Tom Brady's, the big names, the recognized names are the ones that they want to bring in. We're all talking about Barry Bonds again. So now let's face it, it's going to bring in ratings, and that's why they're doing it. And I understand.
Tony?
Yeah. We're talking about the greatest baseball player of all time. We're going to want to hear his perspective. But if you ever hear Barry Bonds talk baseball, he definitely makes it seem like it's too easy. So that's going to be interesting to hear him talk about a game on play-by-play, because whenever I hear him talk about baseball nowadays, every ball should be hit. Every ball should be caught. So it will be interesting to see if he's going to be a play-by-play guy or he just talks pre and post game. But we want to hear the perspective of the greatest players. So I'm all for it.
Well, yeah, as I understand, I think he'll be a color analyst, but I'm sure it'll be interesting to see him. I'm not going to watch him. I have no interest in it. I got way too much to do in spring training about this guy. But or actually, And and obviously opening, I'm not worried about it. But yeah, might as well give him a shot. It's against the Yankees too, by the way. All right, Marvin. Some thoughts about Barry Bonds getting behind the mic.
He's polarizing. A lot of people have strong feelings toward him, whether they think he should be in the Hall of Fame and he's being robbed, or they think he, did the game wrong. People who love sports know who he is. People who know baseball have an opinion. So I think it's smart. I mean? At the end of the day, whether people tune in because they love you or tune in because they hate you, they're all fans, and they're all, contributing toward that viewership that Netflix wants. So I think it's a smart move. I get it, and I'm sure they'll have numbers at least on opening night on the first run. So we'll see.
Okay, great stuff. Final topic of the night. Only one to go, and we're going to talk about pro sports valuations by a sport to go here in South Florida. Okay, that's where the show is actually being produced. With South Florida franchises, the Dolphins come in at $8.25 billion. What do you expect of the NFL, right? And they've been around longer than any of them. The Miami Heat actually come in at $6.03 billion. The Florida Panthers are $1.89 billion. But here's the thing, and I know, Cliff, I'm going to probably lean on you with the hockey one anyway. The only reason they're not even that high is because the last 3 years, they backed into the playoffs one year to get to the finals, and they won two, and now they're sellers at the deadline. Inter Miami actually is $1.4 billion, and the Marlins are $1.30 billion. All right, so Cliff, I'm going to let you start off on this topic. How do you like where these valuations stand?
Well, it kind of makes sense when you're, of course, the NFL top one,
Right.
always going to be.
Right.
NBA's after that. Yeah, the Marlins always seem to have a problem. Yeah, they've got a couple World Series, but for the most part, they have issues. They're never really all that great, and they have problems with the stadium and getting people in there, and hockey unfortunately is hockey, so it's going to get a lower value. I'm not surprised by the values. I guess that's kind of where they should be. You're exactly right. The Panthers won back to back, and this year I don't know what lots of injuries. I think just really hit them, and but yeah. So they were. I can't tell you how long I wanted them to get moved until very recently when they made the management changes. No, it all sounds about right when you think about sports. That's where sports usually ranks of what makes the most money. That all seems in that market. That seems the values seem pretty accurate.
Yeah, old Bill Zito saved the franchise. This guy's the shootest general manager on the planet. The Marlins are based in Little Havana. Have you ever been down to that area, Marvin? I don't know. Huh? You ever make it down that way, Little Havana? You know the general area I'm talking about or not? Because that stadium was built on the site of the Orange Bowl, just so you know. I don't know if you know that or not, or maybe you do. But here's the thing with the Marlins, okay? Number one, I'll give you some actually numbers here. The 34 seasons that they've actually been playing MLB in the big leagues, they've only had 4 winning seasons, period. They've never won a division title, and they won 2 wild cards, and they made them count. One of them they bought, and Wayne Huizinga bought it, and the other one they actually produced naturally on their own. So it doesn't surprise me that they're the team that's the lowest. And it's just amazing how Inter Miami passed them so quickly. And the Panthers would only, I imagine they'd be lower than Inter Miami if it were for these last 2 Stanley Cups. So the Panthers are Johnny come lately is what they really are. Candy, you want to pick up on that?
Well, sure. The Dolphins, obviously, NFL is the ruler of everybody. Inter Miami, they have Lionel Messi. They have, big names in their organization, and they built Freedom Park. They're going to be moving to Freedom Park this next year. That makes sense. There's a lot of what I would say down here is a lot of transplants. A lot of people that weren't born down here in Florida. And soccer is one of the biggest sports internationally. So when you have a lot of people that are from different countries here, soccer is king. I know a bunch of my employees, they love soccer. And so I'm not surprised that is on the rise. Most valuable MLS franchise is Inter Miami. So Doesn't surprise me. Heat have had success, so and they play in a fairly good location, I would say. Whereas the Marlins, bad location, bad team, bad ownership, doesn't spend money on, doesn't make good moves. You know, they had Don Mattingly as a coach, and they didn't give him a good team, good players around him.
Right.
For years, it's been that way, at least since I've been down here. Now I realize they did win before a couple times, but so that doesn't surprise me. And yeah, the Panthers have won the Stanley Cup the last couple years, so their valuation obviously goes up with that. They've hired front office well, and that makes a difference. You know, your coaches matter, the players that you get matter, the people that you attract to your team matters. You know, Miami Dolphins, albeit they haven't had success lately on the field, but again, the NFL is king, and we all know that.
Well, that's it for the fact that the Dolphins have been relevant this century. I mean, the last time they won a Super Bowl was back in the 70s, so the Dolphins are a laughing stock. They were, once upon a time, they only had 3 coaches. Now you got 3 million different coaches. Tony, some thoughts about how that pecking order is with the 5?
I mean, it just makes sense when you look at the sports and popularity, but the money's going to always go up. I don't think there's a safer investment in America than if you can invest in a pro sports team.
Right.
They're just going to make money. They're going to be able, they're too big to fail. You know, like you think about these franchises made money during COVID. Nobody made money during COVID, you know, when it comes to businesses. So it's only going to keep growing. And this is why you're starting to see sellers in certain sports, not NFL, but you see the big sell-offs that's happening in the NBA. The Celtics just got sold. The Lakers just got sold. The Trailblazers are coming up. I think the Bucks will be sold soon. The NFL is a little different, but even if you look at Seattle, they just they put the team up right before the playoffs. Lord, they just won the Super Bowl. This is a great time to sell. It's so much money that can be made right now.
All right, Marvin, you have the last word on this one.
Man, I think Tony just knocked it out the park. I mean, I think he really said it. I mean, again, these are businesses that seem like they're too big to fail when you consider how big sports really are to Americans, or just around the world, period. You know, in every country, whether it's soccer or basketball or football, you know, there's golf, there's a sport that dominates, you know, regions all over the world. And people are loyal to it and slaves to it, like they are, you know, family and religion. So, yeah, you know, in regards to the pecking order, it makes sense that football is on top. I'm surprised that basketball, that the Heat are that close to the Dolphins. I think you said 6 million, 6 billion, or 5 billion. That kind of shocked me. But and with hockey, I mean, again, that shows the reality of how people look at hockey versus football and basketball. So. Yeah, not shocking the pecking order. The numbers are a little bit off, but other than that, I think Tony and Candy hit all the key points. So there you go.
You say the numbers are off, right? Here, let's break it down just a little for another second or so. 8 million, 8.25 million for the Dolphins, okay, because of the NFL, and the Heat is 6.03.
Yeah.
But here's where the numbers are really off because of what you just said. The other 3 are under 2 billion. That's where the numbers are really off, Marvin. Listen, we don't even see a team over 2 billion. Got 1.89 billion for the Johnny Come Lately Florida Panthers. And I said Johnny Come Lately, okay? Because that number is going to diminish when they go bad again. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of when. Okay, and then you have Inter Miami, which is moving up the ladder a little, and it'll probably get a little bit bigger because they're in their own stadium finally. Although don't kid yourself, Chase Stadium out in Fort Lauderdale, which used to be Lockhart Stadium site, was a heck of an interim stadium with 18,000. Now they're going to a place with 25,000, and the Marlins are just going to stay at the bottom. Period. There's no way they're going to go anywhere. I mean, how do you expect? 10, 15,000 a game if you're lucky? I mean, give me a break. And here's the thing that we also have to keep in mind about baseball. What happens after that collective bargaining agreement? Whether you have a salary cap is one thing. What happens when the spending floor goes to 140 million versus the 70 million that they're going to have? What are the Marlins going to do with that poor attendance? Okay, they're going to be forced to field a competitive team. Are they going to be able to go out there and fight it? That's where the kicker is here. Okay, they're at 70 million, 80 million. They're always at the bottom in attendance and payroll, right? Right, Cliff, you're a numbers guy. What's going to happen when they're forced to spend more money?
Yeah, I'm worried that they're going to like fund, because some leagues allow taking contracts that are dead contracts to get to a floor and store, to get to the floor. So if that's something I think they're going to do. They're going to play shenanigans with stuff like that. That's and I hate when they do that. Hey, my team's done that in the past, and I really hated that when they did that. And you think, oh, you're going to force them to pay so much, but they always find a way. We'll take this contract. This guy's actually retired, but he'll still be on our books. They'll do stuff like that, and they find ways around it. So that's the thing I'm always worried about when they're doing the floors, even though it's meant for good reason. They still find a way to get around it.
It's funny how you say that, Clip, because you're a hockey guy, right? Remember when the Arizona Coyotes acquired Pavel Datsyuk from the Red Wings? Yeah. And obviously he never played it a second for them, but they just absorbed the contract. That's all they did, just to eat up a little bit to get closer to the floor. So when you mention that, that's the first thing in your mind. All right, great show, everybody. I want to thank all, and I've never gone with 8 before, but I knew a lot of people were going to be dropping in increments. Some of them will be on occasional. But I have to tell you right now, after watching this whole show throughout, the core here obviously are the ones that can manage the longest. Marvin, you've been on here for a while. You're a staple on this show. Obviously, you've adapted to the toughest of times when I hit you with Charlie Kirk, and then you survive, or many people didn't. Tony's find a way to slip some barbs at me that make me laugh. Well, that's really good. And now I got Cliff as the new guy in the block, and I've known Cliff a long time, and he's a good friend of mine. So the core of this show, I'm going to announce it on this national show. You got Marvin Powell. As long as he wants to be here, he'll be here. Right, Marvin? Okay. I'll never hold you back. And then we have Tony and we have Cliff, the other one, and Marky, and then where everybody else comes in for the hour. And what do we have? A damn good show with a lot of stuff to talk about. So with that said, Cliff, why don't you let everybody know how they get a hold of you? And don't forget that you're on here every Wednesday night from 9 o'clock to, sometimes they'll be shorter than that. They should be shorter than this most of the time. But tonight we had a lot to work on, and I'm glad we're able to keep it reasonable with a good audience. So Cliff, let everybody know how they get a hold of you, my friend. Looking forward to having you on every Wednesday night.
I'm old, so I'm just still on. I'm on Facebook. That's 2 L's, Neill. No one knows how to spell my last name. But yeah, I don't have anything. I'm thinking about trying to do my own podcast, but I don't know. I'm going to try to do this. I want to do this and see how I do. But yeah, so I've stuff in my mind, but just Facebook right now.
Well, you know what, Cliff? I can tell you right now, from speaking from experience, this act here, considering what I put you through, great first act. I'm looking forward to seeing you get better as time goes on. This is you did a whale of a job tonight, Cliff, without a doubt. All right, Tony, go ahead and let everybody know how they can reach you. And of course, this guy here is my baseball guy.
Yeah, y'all can reach me on all social media, Talking Game 1, and then on YouTube, Tony Talking Game. You see weekly episodes of Talking Game. And Saturdays we do the wrestling, 2 Raw for SmackDown. So,
and not only that, he's one of my key contributors on 108 Stitches Baseball Talk and Talking Baseball as well. This guy he's an MVP. I'll tell you one thing, I'm proud of Tony. I picked him up on Instagram. All right, Marvin, go out there and put it out there for me, please. Thank you.
Yeah, you can catch me on the internet. Marvin Powell III. All my stuff pops up. Marvin on the Mic is my social media handle. I'm doing a couple of shows a week with the South Florida Tribune, and I'm doing 2-3 shows a week with Locked On USC, with more to come.
Yeah, Marvin, I'm going to tell you something, and I know you have a period of time. The 2 biggest shows that you have going for you right now, and you've done the Marvin and the Mike and the Saturday, because Saturday is going to be a little seasonal because obviously we're off season right now, obviously, but we'll add another one for the draft. But your biggest contribution to what we do, Marvin, is a sports exchange and inside the pigskin. And the one thing I give you credit for, buddy, is you show up 100% of the time, except when you have an anniversary and you got a pass for there, thanks to Bruce Arians, okay? And you're 26 years at the other half, kind of make sure you're doing okay there. And what you've done on the sports exchange is nothing short of outstanding. All right, Katie, take us the rest of the way.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his media career and how it has evolved. If you're thinking about getting into the media business, go get his book. Or you can get the audio version, or you can get the real hard copy, or actually it's a soft copy. But it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content. So go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you want to be a guest, or you have topic ideas, or you want to sponsor a show or advertise, email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Last but not least, if you see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, click it, like us, share us with all your friends and family, and then turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode. One last thing, South Florida Tribune is proud to announce a partnership with Equine Assisted Therapies of South Florida. They are a nonprofit organization designed to help disabled people. Scott and Molly Murphy will be doing the Motor City Madmouth show on Wednesdays starting March 18th. Make sure you're watching that. It's a nonprofit that Scott met through the Coral Springs Chamber of Commerce, who he is going to be talking to lots more people to get them involved on different shows. So tune in, make sure you have those notifications on so you don't miss it. Back to you, Scott.
It's always important to be a part of the community that you represent. And I've been a member of the Coral Springs Chamber of Commerce for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years or so. I really love those people over there. And every time I get an opportunity to bring a nonprofit's pretty good stuff, right? Cliff, I'm sure you know a lot about them. But this one here, I'm looking forward to this audience picking up. And also tomorrow night on Sports Wrap. I'll tell you what, you'll like this one, Cliff. Dennis Baruch is going to be on tomorrow edition of Sports Wrap that begins at 8:00 p.m. Eastern time. You know about Dennis Baruch of the Washington Capitals.
Caps defenseman, yeah.
Right, he's going to be on tomorrow as well. So we aim to get the best people here. We're fortunate enough that we have a very loyal group that hangs with us week in and week out, and obviously looking at to add more and more people to make these episodes a lot more entertaining and informative. So with that said, well, I guess I had 8 tonight. So this is going to be a first in our history, and for all you people that appeared on this show tonight, all 8 of you, you just earned a ticket in Lessons from the Microphone Part 2, because this is the first time I've ever gone 8, and everybody knows 8 is enough. Well, guess what? We had 8 tonight. So for Mike Kelly, Marky Bilson, Tom Shanahan, Cliff Neal, Marvin Powell III, Tony, Candy, and myself, I want to thank you very much for joining us on this edition of the Sports Exchange. And tomorrow night, Sports Wrap followed by Fire Up. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And to my crew, all of you, excellent job. Proud of each and every one of you. Thanks. Have a good night.